Chewy Spree. Oh my god. See how I said it like that as if that will help? Chewy Spree? Oh my god, you know what Chewy Spree? Well, in short, it's Spree, but they're chewy. I got it.
Never had.
I had an old-fashioned pound machine. I put a quarter in Chewy Spree. Current selection, there are 3 boxes. You got Chewy Spree and one last year. You get 5 with the quarter. The other one is Starburst Jelly Beans. Starburst Jelly Beans. Dog loves Starburst Jelly Beans. These two. Then in the middle, it's not a fan favorite. We just have bouncy balls. Yep.
That's fun. I like that. That's good.
Bouncy balls are good. So when you're just feeling like we can a little bit, you don't want to get that sugar rush. The bouncy ball right now. I tried to rig the thing the other day and make it so that when you turn it and I put a quarter in there, I get like 40 things. But it's the real deal.
You didn't get the cheap one.
It's the solid steel with the glass frame. It's the things that you choose to spend your money
Seems like this show's never in stock. I mean, it feels like it's been live forever.
on. Oh, Hey, how we doing today? Welcome to the Closing Beat. Happy Tuesday. Hope you're all having a good day out there. Don't mind my candy cravings. They will go away shortly, or I will fulfill them, and then I will regret it. This is the Closing Beat stock market update show that we do in our new studios here. We're building out the new studios, getting some lighting worked on and everything. Got a new light up here to kind of light up the Wine and Wealth class, which we do every Thursday for clients. I might actually test something this week. I might record it and put it in our Notes from Jazz, because I think we can do that, and I've always wanted to include that in there as well, so bear with me. Nonetheless, the topic will be how do the wealthy actually position their investments so that they get the greatest tax advantage and they don't have to pay taxes as much as you guys do or most people do. So I'm actually go through that. Stems from my background just a little bit there in advising those with a lot of money. And so we're going to get that started. If you don't have a lot of money, that's cool. You're welcome here at Jazz. We work with Goldman Sachs, so we actually get all that available research and everything. We're like the only advisor that gets that. Access to everything Goldman Sachs has, research, tools, tips, and planning and all that stuff. But you don't have to have like $40 million to walk in the door. So just ask yourself, like, what advisors ever called or asked you to join them from Goldman Sachs? Like, if you have enough money, they found you already. They have a really cool way of finding people. But you're welcome here. And we get all of that research, and I'm happy to help and get your dough straight with you. Anyways, we're talking about so that's the Wine and Wealth. Yeah, I just wanted to point that out. That'll be this week. We got a Turnaround Tuesday on our hands today, huh? So we've done stats in the past. I like to share stats on this show. I'm very stats oriented. And we've talked about the Turnaround Tuesday actually being in full strength this year. Lots of times we've had a strong 1% or greater down day on a Monday, and Tuesday just recovers as if nothing happened. Pretty much did that here today. I'll take a look at the stock markets. It was a FANG day, all right? And I got a couple cool things to share with you today, but FANG day led the way today, and Microsoft. We're going to add that as well. If you look at the NASDAQ here, that led the day as far as the major indices. That was your best performer there. Still second place year to date. It also broke the previous low, so it was a little more oversold than the other indices, but that's fine. Everything bounced today here. It's up 14% year to date, so this little pullback doesn't hurt anybody. It's actually welcome for most of you. You got Apple recovering today, one of the bigger gainers or bigger contributors to the gain in the NASDAQ. Microsoft as well, up 2% on the day. I'll show NVIDIA with the semiconductors being oversold. We talked about that yesterday. One of you had semiconductor stock. We said, let's expect a bounce, right? Let's wait till a bounce. If you're going to sell it for a loss, you do it then. We have Amazon as well. So Amazon, one of the weaker ones overall out of the FANG stocks. A little bit of a recovery today, added 1%, and then Netflix, which refuses to give up, no pullback at all. It's one of the only FANG stocks that didn't pull back 10% or more already. Netflix has basically just been sky high there, continuing to do its thing, and really could care less. Actually hit new highs here today. And so if we move on over to the S&P here, that is first place year to date. It did not break the prior lows, so a little bit stronger, and we could see that coming into this here. Let me try something a little different here. Give me a second. I'm going to try to look through this here. So if we're looking at the S&P here today, your biggest contributor was in fact Microsoft. 12 basis points were actually accounting for the biggest gain. I'm going to point this out a little different because it's something I'm about to show you. Apple accounted for 8 basis points, or 0.08% of the day's gains. You have NVIDIA and then Facebook as well, which is back online. Yay, you have something to do again. Added 2%, one of the more oversold FANG stocks out of the group there, so not too bad. Now, Netflix and maybe Google or Alphabet were the only FANG stocks plus Microsoft and NVIDIA that didn't pull back 10% or more. So if we look at this recent pullback in the S&P 500, there you go. Not a 10% pullback, but still a little bit of a pullback there. And I'm going to just pull up maybe a way to look at the different, where did it go? There it is. Now, let's put my Spotify there. Here is the biggest contributors to the market's pullback in terms of the percentage points that they would have pulled off of the market. I'll explain. So Apple is the biggest contributor to the stock market's most recent pullback. In other words, if you're looking from like September 1st, 2nd, right in here where we hit a high, to the low of yesterday, what stocks pulled the markets back the most? And so Apple would be the greatest, about 0.5%, 51 basis points, how we say it. So about 0.5% of the market's decline, 6% or so, was because of Apple. About 0.25% was Facebook and Amazon. You could see, it's the big FANG names, right? We've been talking about those stocks pulling everything back, having the greatest weight on the overall stock market. So here you have, let's call it 1%, 1.5% of the entire stock market is of these 5 stocks. In other words, if those 5 stocks did not go down, you would have fallen 1.5% less, roughly. As you look off to the right, it's the other big names as well. You got Johnson & Johnson in there, but Adobe and PayPal, some of the names that are more headline names there, and so you get the gist of that one. Now, if you look at FANG plus Microsoft, so that's Facebook, Apple, Amazon, Netflix, Alphabet, those stocks account for roughly 1/3 of the market's declines, just like I mentioned a second ago. Now, let's look at the other side of it. If you're looking for strength, which stocks did not pull back and were, in fact, a positive contributor to the market's declines? In other words, they either didn't fall or they pulled against some of the losses here in the S&P. Tesla, bucking the trend, man. Tesla fought the downtrend here, but you look at some of the other names, you're going to notice that there's a clear sector distinction here. You have Tesla, put that off to the side. You have financials, JP Morgan, Bank of America, Wells Fargo over here, put those off to the side. Basically, the rest of them are energy stocks, a couple healthcare in there as well. But you basically have financials and energy with Tesla that held the markets up. Those are actually the strongest areas right now. Energy, which is actually the only positive gainer in September, which we pointed out in our notes from Jazz. And so there you go. That's where all the excitement's at, financials and energy. So when you have a market rally, everybody gets excited again. They're going to go there first. And you kind of saw that today if you're looking around. If we look at the Dow here, nice recovery off the 200-day moving average there. 3rd place year to date, but it was a big mover today. In fact, if we look at the performers today, came in 3rd place, added about 1% on the day. Now, we talked about financials a second ago. Goldman Sachs accounts for like 70 to 80 points, maybe 85-ish points of the Dow's gains. You ever see that on TV? Where they say, this stock was up and accounted for 100 points in the Dow. That's all it is, just a bigger contributor because it's a higher price stock. So let's call it 80 points because I can't do the math fast enough in my head there. So you got Goldman Sachs higher. They were higher because JP Morgan gave them an upgrade. That's basically it, right? Now, if you go look at JP Morgan, also in the Dow, they were higher on the day, 1.6%. JP Morgan, or Goldman Sachs returned the favor and gave JP Morgan an upgrade. So Goldman higher because of JP Morgan, JP higher because of Goldman Sachs. They helped each other out there, man. It was kind of nice of them to do that. Both of them raised their price targets on each other, or the opposite person of each other, basically. So that's what you have. You only had a couple names that were lower on the day in the Dow. You had Merck was the biggest loser on the day, but that's okay. It's had the biggest gain. They've got a COVID pill. Everybody's excited, and that's starting to wash away just a little bit. Visa is another one I'll point out that just seems to stay a little bit weak. That's a little odd, right? Everything else kind of recovered today, erased all of yesterday's losses, and Visa didn't come anywhere close to erasing yesterday's losses. So if you own that one, it's kind of on a warning list. You might want to watch it and see if you can raise your stop, or you might want to consider places to take a profit, or see if you can hold out to maybe add some more if it falls. But that one sticks out. And that is the Dow. And so that means we're going to talk about Guess the Dow. What do you got?
Got your new leaderboard today. Your top 5, we got Miranda, Rhea, Heather, Russell, and Silk. Those are your top 5 for today. By the way, I apologize for coming at you in the pre-show there. Just wondering if the show is ever going to start. I know when you like talk about candy, you're pretty passionate about it. You talk about it for a while. So my apologies for coming at you.
Oh, no problem. And I'll reciprocate by saying I don't see your name on that list, bud. Did you play Guess the Dow?
Well, that's why I flew through it. Nobody cares. I'm not on it. So that's
Nowhere near. Did you bet lower or higher?
Actually, I don't think I got my guess in by Saturday at noon. So I think I'm on. I think I got mine for next week. I don't think I'm on.
All right.
I don't think I made it.
What do you think? Where's Cody stand on that? What's all that crap behind you, man? You clean up we got stuff in the background there. What do you think? Market higher or lower next Friday? If you had to guess, just higher or lower?
Lower.
Oh, that was okay. Pretty confident. Just going lower.
But not too much. I got to win the office.
Oh, that's right. Slight decline. Slight decline. I gotcha. What do we have? 10 days left to go. Not looking good there. Speaking of running out of time, the foreclosure moratorium. There's a lot of you that are saying, I'm going to go scoop up some houses. Prices are going to come down. I'm going to do my thing. Well, we're getting the first data out on foreclosures. Black Knight, if you're not familiar, they're the guys that track every single data point there. I think it's a subscription service that they sign you up for, but there's a lot of free stuff that they put out there. We got the first data from them on foreclosures. First report since the end of the foreclosure moratorium hit, but there's still some pockets and areas where that's continuing, forbearances and things, so it's not quite in the works just yet. Nonetheless, our foreclosures hit an 8-month high. 7,100 loans entered foreclosure, but that's still pretty low considering where we stand, so not a big deal there. Loans that are newly 30 days late are up 13,000, which may be on their way to foreclosure, but just 30 days late. And loans that are 60 days late, which are closer to foreclosure, up 10,000 loans. So getting a little bit there, but the problem, you have like 1.5 million homes that are in forbearance, and that ended in September, the end of September. So likely you're going to start seeing more information in November and December that really gets that sense of, well, is this an opportunity or are people just working their way out of it? I put together a little something to show you real quick. You've got the black line here, mortgages delinquent by 90 days or more. You can see we haven't even ticked higher yet. It's not anything to get excited about just yet. Then they have something called the transition rate, which is where you go from being current on your mortgage into the pocket of either 30 or 60 days late. Somewhere in there, you're just behind, but you were current and something's fallen behind. That's actually ticked a little bit lower as well. That one wouldn't be the one you want to follow unless that number severely drops. You're actually looking for mortgages delinquent by 90 days or more. We'll try to keep track of this because as this starts to perk up, that's where you might see in your area that there's opportunity or you're noticing more homes for sale. But right now, supply is pretty darn tight, so that's a tough one. We'll see what happens. There's almost no supply here in Tampa. We were one of the biggest areas, by the way, to have the biggest year-over-year increase in home prices. So you can actually look up the Case-Shiller home price index, and if you look at the top 15 metro areas, Tampa's like second or third. So we've got nothing here. Don't come looking in Tampa. Anyways, let's take a look here. Sector-wise, oil, new highs. I said this last week and probably the week before. Oil's headed higher. There's no reason for it to stop moving higher. You've got OPEC saying, hey, we're going to even increase production little by little. Nobody cares because the demand is there. The supply is not at the moment. And the supply here in the U.S. continues to dwindle because we're not doing anything about it. So there's really no end in sight for that. You're going to pay higher prices at the pump, and I don't know. You're looking for someone to blame. I don't have anybody for you. Just that's the way we're running things right now. Financials. They were the strongest today, and largely because of the friendship that we talked about between Goldman Sachs and J.P. Morgan, those trading their upgrades there. If you look on the downside, you got communication services. I'm sorry, not the downside. Second place is communication services, 1.5% to the upside today. That's going to be because of Facebook giving you a little bit of a rally there. I want to point out tech, which today was basically driven by tech. It came in third place overall because financials led the way, but there's your tech rebound and largely spawned by the large cap growth stocks if you're looking through, and we covered a bunch of them already. On the downside, you got utilities because rates are still moving higher, so utilities just a little bit weak on the day. They're sensitive to that stuff, and real estate also. Because if you look at short-term notes, they moved lower, which means rates moved higher. So it's an inverse, right? When these things start ticking lower, your rates are going up, and we are currently on a trend of increasing interest rates there. So that's what you have. New highs and lows for the day. 15 new highs, 5 new lows. Some cool stuff here. FedEx made a new low, but then reverse course right away. I had sold the 220 puts. They were in the money, and in one day, now we've erased all the losses. I do not have a profit on that position yet, but it is working on it. So I'm back to scratch there. Happy to see that one there. That was one of the new lows, and hopefully that's the end of the new lows for that one. Packer. So Packer made a new low, then reverse course, a lot like FedEx today. If you're focused on the transport stocks, you did see that across the board on quite a lot of them. I'll point out that half the new highs list was energy today. I didn't put any really on the list, but looking through energy, Cabot Oil didn't make a new high, but still not wanting to stop there. ExxonMobil not making a new high, but almost close to making a new high. That's why I didn't put any on the list, because there was a lot of them. I think Marathon's on there if you're looking. It did make a new high. It's just super extended. So you're looking through the energy stocks now and you're saying, that's great if energy is going to keep being strong. I don't want to chase something. Give me something that has some opportunity still. So that's why I point out a few different ones there. And then financials basically made up the rest of the list there. Bank of America, 2% higher on the day. Don't go to the big headline names. Look at AIG, also breaking the new highs and still very tight, consolidated, not extended or overbought in any way in the short term. So you kind of need to be selective with your financials because some of them are getting a little bit overbought. What else do we have? Stocks in the news. All right, we got earnings season coming up. What is it? Next Wednesday, things get kicked off with the financials. But in the meantime, Lordstown Motors. Morgan Stanley basically said, just get out. Don't own the stock. They put a price target of $2 on it, and they had a previous price target of $8. They had hit that price target, changed their mind, and said, now's the time to get out. It's not worth anything more than that. So $2 is the price target. That, along with a couple other downgrades, basically puts it where you see it today and likely a little bit lower. Southwest Airlines, was it vaccine news on them? I think I remember. All employees need to be vaccinated by December 8th for Southwest Airlines. And stock was just a touch lower on the day. It really hasn't affected stocks much for companies that have decided to do that. Slight down days, but nothing crazy. Target. So Target is going to pay $2 or $3 more during the holiday season. I think that's to everybody that's hourly, not just the seasonal workers there. They're hiring a whole bunch of seasonal workers, I believe 50,000 of them, and they're going to get paid $2 more an hour. You're seeing that, right? Because what do we have? It's almost crunch time, where UPS, Target, all the retailers, they've all got to hire people. And then you got Amazon out here just gobbling people up left and right. So they're going to have to start raising pay. Problem is that's not working. You're still not getting people out there. So they're just trying to stay relevant, let you know, hey, it's a good place to work. We're going to pay you a few more dollars. Don't you worry. If you're looking for a little part-time holiday work. Pepsi reports earnings today. Actually pretty good. Their organic revenue was up 9%. We're only expecting like 6% or so. And they raised guidance going forward, even with they're not immune to the supply chain issues that are out there, especially with aluminum. And so stock just a little bit higher on the day, although it was kind of muted because they're kind of like, you might have raised a little too much there. Lululemon, they are in the news because they're going to buy back $500 million more in stock. Now remember, if this new tax law passes, there's a surcharge for companies buying back stock, which is sort of frustrating because the whole argument was companies buying back stock they just don't know any better, but they were saying you're not returning money to shareholders. You should be paying dividends. Well, buying back stock actually does return money to shareholders, but Congress didn't understand that. And they said, we want you to return money to shareholders. Companies basically said, yeah, we'll do a little of that, and we're going to buy back some stock as well, because that is a return of money to shareholders, and we don't have any need to expand or do any R&D or anything. And so Congress said, all right, fine, we're going to put a 2% tax on you then. Well, wait a minute. So if they keep buying back shares, then that means Congress gets the money. That means that's even less money being returned to shareholders. So that's the opposite of what you were trying to do. That's a little frustrating, but that's what's happening there. Lululemon is saying, and I like to say it that way, they're just saying we're going to get another $500 million in there because if this thing comes true, we don't want to pay 2% on that money, and who can blame them? Robert Half, probably a name you don't hear of much, but looking at a breakout here on the charts, this is it's more of a technical thing I'm pointing out, just the breakout there that you see. But Robert Half is, it's a staffing company, but it's not like your day labor staffing company. They do, accounting, they do CPAs, attorneys, and things like that. And it's kind of seen as like a barometer for the labor market, right? Can they place people into jobs or not? And a fun fact, this company actually has no debt. You wonder why it hasn't pulled back at all? They have no debt, and they've raised their total dividend, $10 million each year for the last 3 years there. So they are more than capable of returning money to shareholders and enjoying a nice price move higher. All right, what questions do you have, if anything? I will see what I can do. I don't know everything, but I'll give you a shot there. What about FedEx? Yeah, hopefully that's a bottom, right? I hope that's a bottom. I just need a couple more days up. That'll do the trick for me. Yeah. Evergrande default payment lingering on the 23rd is holding us back. Actually has no impact. It's a great headline and unfortunate news for them, but it's not a financially it doesn't have a strain on the economy because it's owned by funds. So it's no different than if you own a fund and one of the stocks goes bankrupt. That's it. It's different than when you have like a bank that is backed by China and they go under. That'd be tough for that to happen, but it could happen. That'd be a different story because that has an immediate stress on the entire economy right there, especially of that size. But that's more of a headline than anything. That's why it hasn't really been this constant stress in the headlines, and because everybody knows it's not really a big case there. I mean, it's a big case, but not that big of a deal to us. Yeah. Oh, I got you fired up again? I like getting you guys fired up with the politics talk, especially when it comes to money, because then I have something I can enjoy with you guys. If we're going to talk like border security and stuff, I don't know. I don't follow that stuff. We're talking about money, then I feel like, yeah, I'm right there with you. Yeah. How many Tuesday bounces? Well, we actually, when we did the last review, we didn't just do any Tuesday bounce. It was a Tuesday reversal. So I believe we said any Tuesday decline of 1% or more. I'm sorry, any Monday decline of 1% or more. That's what we actually studied. I'll do a quick scan back here. I do save some of these charts, but it's been about 3 weeks. See what I can find, if anything. Expiration, looks like that sort of data. It'd be cool to just we should have a place where we can put a lot of this stuff. Here's all this stuff. I'm just going back, looking through all the different days we've been here, just so you can see. Gosh, I don't know. Maybe I didn't save it. Yeah, because this is going way back. I might have deleted some of those there. TSA, we're back to August here. I won't take too much of your time, but you see the kind of fun stuff we like to talk about there. All right, one more. Nope, not going to be anything there. Sorry, I'll dig it up maybe and see what we can find. Or maybe we'll just cover it tomorrow and add to the stats. Yep. Any price performance when a company changes their name? No, if they're just purely changing their name, nothing. If they're changing their name because they acquired somebody and it was like a stock transaction or like a reverse merger kind of a thing, then yes. But no. You dig into those Pandora Papers? I went on a whole thing last night, actually. I did, but I started with the Panama Papers because I figured there'd be more data out there about specifics. So I ended up looking through everything I could. Fascinating to read, and I just got in this whole black hole kind of a thing, going back to the Panama Papers, refreshing my mind there. There was the Paradise Papers as well. I did that, and then I never made it actually to the latest. So I plan on it. I've left it on my browser, but to be honest, surf life there, I often do that. I start down a little path, and I'm like, ooh, that's a good thing to talk about. I didn't make it there. I spent too long. 2 hours go by, and you're like, what am I doing? Yeah. I would not invest in an inverse ETF, period. Savvy. You can trade them. Yeah. Yeah, Bitcoin above 50,000 again today, I believe. And I think you got a recipe for a rally there. I'm not much of a Bitcoin guy, but you have a recipe for people saying, or you want to track $600 transactions, you want to tax all this stuff that you're about to do with me, and you're saying there's things that I can and can't do with my money and the new tax laws there. Well, then why not just use Bitcoin? So they're really lighting the fire under cryptocurrency in general with this, but we'll see. What should happen to the Fed governors who resigned, tarred and feathered? Not my call, man. I disagree with what they did, and even in Congress, I don't think that should be allowed, but for some reason, 535 of them have a bigger say than 300 million of us, man. Yep. I don't know. Thanks for the compliments there. Oh, we need a putting green. Actually, it's in the other room. It's a whole, you can swing and do all the stuff. It's in the other room. The grass and all that. Yep. I know, right? Let's go. Okay, I'm going to wrap it up there, and we'll be back tomorrow to do it all over again. Appreciate you guys checking us out. And I'm thinking by the end of the week, we should have the ability for you to ask to join, like request an invite to get started here with Jazz. Right now it's a wait list, so we're trying to go through and invite everybody, but realize it's been some time, so some of you have probably moved on, done other things. But hope you'll keep us in mind, do appreciate it, and I mean it when I say you got the backing of Goldman Sachs now, everything that we could ever imagine. So those people helping the millionaires get their dough straight, we're doing the same thing here, just for the average everyday person. So I hope you keep us in mind. Enjoy the rest of your day, and we'll see you tomorrow.